order and ask you to stand to the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the August 14, 2018 County Commission meeting. I'd remind you to silence your cell phones. Meeting documents are on the end of the counter in the white folder. And if you need a listening device, Craig in the red tie up here can help you with that. We'll move on to routine business. Item number 1 is motion to approve the agenda for today.
Moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 2 is approve the commission meeting minutes from August 7th, 2018.
So move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 3 is bills to be paid in the amount of $4,546,524.01.
Pay the bills.
Second.
Second, comments? No comments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 4 is reports. Letter A is Minnehaha Coroner's report from June 2018. Item B is the Highway Department monthly construction project update for August 2018. Item C is the Sheriff's report for 2018, and those are all on file at the Auditor's office. Item number 5 is personnel actions. Item A is consider a motion to approve the routine personnel actions.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 6 is abatements recommended for approval. Item A is the Northwest District of the Wesleyan Church, also known as the Ransom Church, RDID number 47323, 2017 property tax exempt, $6,352.15. Olivia?
Yes.
I just read it all. Any questions for Olivia on that tax exempt?
Move for approval.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 7 is notice and request. There are none. Item number 8 is planning and zoning request. There are none. Item number 9 is petition for compromise of lien. There is none. And next we have opportunity for public comment. Is there anyone? Commissioner Karski?
I see we have a young man in a scouting uniform in the back here, and one of his parents, I won't tell him which one, suggested that maybe he get up and introduce himself and explain the opportunity or the reason for his visit for us today.
Yeah, you need to come up to the microphone. Sorry, you really got put on the spot.
Yeah, you can blame Commissioner Karski.
You just give your name and your address, and you got 5 minutes.
Well, my name is Carter Jackson. I like my housing address? Or-
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
okay, 6309 South Avalon Avenue. I'm just working on my Eagle Scout, and I need to come to a public meeting so I can just observe and how this stuff works for one of my merit badges.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, and good luck on the Eagle Scout.
Exactly. It's a
Thank
lot
you.
of work.
More people did come.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Anyone else have a public comment today? Good morning, Jamie.
Jamie Gravitt, Director of the Juvenile Detention Center. I took the opportunity this morning to introduce our new Assistant Director to all the commissioners, but I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce him to the citizens of our county as well as the other employees of the county of Minnehaha. Nate Ellens has joined us. He's been here since August 6th, and he's eager to get going, and I just wanted to introduce him and let him say anything he wants to say.
Good morning. I just appreciated the opportunity to meet you all this morning, and I'm excited to be working for the county. I have previously worked for Behavioral Health, Lutheran Social Services, and the Platte Police Department, and I'm glad to be on board and excited to begin contributing, and have had an enjoyable first week at the Juvenile Detention Center and felt very welcome. So thank you for your time this morning, and I appreciated getting to be introduced to each of you.
Thank you, Nate. We appreciate you coming over here, and I'm sure you'll quickly learn a lot of different faces and people in our we have a very good group of people. So
I agree.
yeah,
Thanks.
Commissioner Karski again.
And put in front of all the commissioners at the very least, Race for the Cure, September 23rd, the Susan G. Coleman Race for the Cure is occurring on that date. I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but it's a phenomenal opportunity to support a great organization. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you about that. And the other one, if you look at the picture, that's a picture of my wife and daughter who are on the
That's fantastic.
on the flyer. And my wife is a 15-year breast cancer survivor, so it has special meaning for us too. So just wanted everybody to be aware of it and take the opportunity to put it out there. So thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
Question for the commissioner.
Commissioner Barrow.
Which race will you be running in?
The race for the cure.
Any other public comment? All right, with that, we'll go on to regular business. Item number 10 is consider a resolution to restore tax ID number 2603, tax deed number 2603, RDID 63172, a former owner of record in accordance to South Dakota Codified Law 10-25-41. Olivia.
Yes. So essentially, Mr. Mills has deposited $14,777.63 with the Minnehaha County Treasurer. So what this does, the resolution will restore the title to said owner upon that payment with your approval.
Questions for Olivia?
Olivia, how many years had this gone without having paid?
Let me see.
We don't seize them immediately, obviously.
No, I believe it's 4.
It's 4 or 5.
I'll have to look into that for you and get back to you
Okay.
if that's okay.
Well, 14,000 is a significant amount. I'm glad that they came up with it.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We need a roll call. I have a motion and a second.
All right. Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Heiberger,
Yes.
Karski.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Item number 11, excuse me, is consider an appeal to the decision by the Minnehaha County Planning Commission to approve CUP number 18-32 to exceed 3,600 square feet of an accessory building area. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin Hookman, County Planning Department. As you just heard, this is a conditional use permit that was appealed from last month's meeting in July. The Planning Commission heard this item to exceed 3,600 square feet of accessory building. The petitioner would like to build a 52-foot by 80-foot accessory building. And then the location of that building is at 1900 East 2nd Street, and it's about a half mile east of Hartford. The building, I have a site plan for you. So the building would go along the driveway. This would be just to the east of his house. The driveway on the top of the map being the south part of the property. And the 52 by 80 foot accessory building would be in addition to a building that's in the rear yard that's 440 square feet for the assessed size. So the total that was approved at the Planning Commission meeting was 4,600 square feet. The Planning Commission approved it with 6 conditions that was suggested by staff, and the item was on the consent agenda. There was no body who was present to either have anything to say or any objections to the item that allowed it to stay on the consent agenda. As you can see on this map, it's kind of hard to read, but the buildings in the area, there's a couple of buildings to the south of the property, either side of it, that are larger than this proposed building. So it does meet the neighborhood kind of area. And if you go through these pictures, you'll see he already has a concrete pad located where he wants to construct his structure. And then further, I have a few pictures of the neighboring buildings to show you the size comparisons. As this was approved by the Planning Commission on the July 23rd meeting, and it has been appealed, the County Commission can uphold, deny, or amend the Planning Commission approval decision for conditional use permit number 1836. And can I have any questions?
Kevin, could you just read the legal description since I didn't read it when I opened? Thank you.
Sure. So the property is legally described as Tract 3 of Ruhak Edition in the northeast quarter of Section 23, Township 102, Range 51,
West.
west.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Kevin? Commissioner Berth?
Kevin, on the map that shows the property, the parcels, which property is it that's appealing?
So the appealing property owner is the large parcel that's directly south of that red
The one that's
box.
completely brown there?
Yep, so there is no residence on the property yet. They,
Can you point to which one you're talking about?
I will try. All right, so right
Oh.
here.
That area, okay. Okay.
And that's also across the road, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Additional questions, Commissioner Karski?
Help me with the math, Kevin. Okay, so we got a 4,160 square foot building and a 120 square foot already exists for 4,280. Where are we coming up with 46?
So the petitioner originally stated when he applied that the building in the rear yard was 120 square feet. When we were searching for the further information of just the research for the conditional use permit for the staff report, we found out that the building is assessed for 440 square feet. So we decided that the difference would just be made up in the conditions to make it so that the intent of the 52 by 80 foot building would still remain. So that's where the 440 comes in, why it raised up a little.
So it's being assessed for a 440 square foot building even though it's only 120 square feet?
Well, so it's like a cabana hut where you have like a building in the middle and this really big overhang with concrete underneath, and maybe the petitioner can kind of describe it.
Okay.
And that's why I presume it's being assessed for that larger amount.
Also, if I may, the requested amount is the total accessory building, not just for the new building. That's the total accessory.
Okay.
Is it adding on to the accessory building they already have?
No,
No,
this would
it's
be
two
a
different
new
buildings, okay.
building in the front. Yep.
Additional questions for Kevin? Okay, since this would be an opportunity for the person who is opposed to this to speak if there's someone here. There was no one here opposed to this that's present, so for the people who are going to build the building, if they would like to speak, would be great. And if you, again, would identify yourself and give your address, please, for the record.
John Maris, 1900 East 2nd Street. This is my wife Angie. I actually have pictures of the building that we built, a smaller building. The actual floor space of the building is 120 square feet, and then it has an overhanging roof. It's right by our pond that we have in our backyard.
Okay.
And so it's just like a
For shade purposes.
decorative,
Oh,
basically. The roof is bigger, but the building actually itself is 120 square feet, which I believe, and that this maybe I don't know, but I believe the square footage of the floor space is how a building is assessed. So I'm actually glad that this came up so that we're made aware that we're being assessed for more than what it is.
Yeah.
You
Somebody
know,
looked at the
so-
roof and said, oh, it's this big. Yeah,
exactly.
so, yeah.
And I have pictures of it if you'd like to see it. I did take some.
I think
this
we're
one.
okay.
If-
I think we're okay.
Okay.
And you're going to add a new building to the front of your property on top of
It
that
looked
cement
like we're
pad.
trying to be dishonest.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Additional questions for the petitioner?
Is there anything magical about 52 by 80?
Well, that's part of the problem. We had it approved before in the past at 60 by 80. They had done it at the planning and zoning. I withdrew that because we were talking about going bigger
Even
with the
bigger.
building. We're actually building it for baseball, basketball purposes for our sons who are in high school.
Okay.
Just mainly for the baseball part of it, but for indoor during the winter
Mm-hmm.
to use. But I guess that's.
When you say, if I may, it was approved earlier, what had happened or why?
We had it was approved for 60 by 80, and then we were talking about going 66 by 104. Because we're gonna do it for, a stall for our camper and boat also in it, but we actually own storage units elsewhere, so we keep that elsewhere.
And after pricing it all out, we thought we better pull our dreams in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Money was the main.
So it was approved by the planning commission, and
Planning and zoning.
I'm confused. Why do we have to go through this again?
Madam
They
Chair?
would-
Yeah.
Commissioner Barth, you can
So
explain.
the opponent was not at that meeting. No one objected at that meeting. It went on our consent agenda. So, we approved, 6 or 7 items on the consent agenda and then went on to more contentious issues. So the neighbor then sent a letter to planning and zoning appealing this, which is his right. And so today we are hearing that appeal.
Commissioner Bender.
I was unable to come to that meeting because we were I coach baseball for my sons, and I was in Wagner that night for the region tournament, so I wasn't able to attend.
Well, I'm guessing you had no objection. Neither did anyone else.
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Bender has a
I
comment.
just was going to clarify for Commissioner Karski is that when they were previously approved, then they withdrew it. They've come back, filed again. It was
Yes.
approved
Yeah.
at planning and zoning, and now, since it's been contested, we're
Now
here.
Right.
I'm curious whether you've had any conversation with the Zimmerman Family Trust representatives?
We have no idea
We
what
don't know
their
who
issue
they
is.
are. Yeah, we don't know who they are even, so.
Okay.
Additional questions? Commissioner Bennigan.
My question's more for David. This is the first time I think I can ever remember where Kevin, I'm sorry. Old memory. When we measured the building based on the roof square footage versus the internal square footage?
For planning purposes, we typically do measure with a roof line if it's beyond the regular 2-foot overhang eave, because there's lots of times that people will like to have like a lean-to or an extended portion of the building. We have a building coming up in the next meeting that has 16-foot lean-to that's 100 feet long, that we are added that whole 16-foot by 100-foot to the petition, so it's part of the calculation.
And then the other question I just have to ask, the cement slab was constructed before this appeal process, so they had a building permit evidently to pour the cement. Is that the normal process before they go through the, quote, appeal of a neighbor?
The cement pad was poured previously, and you don't need a permit to just pour cement. I presume this is going to be a pole building, so they'll have to go through and dig the holes and put the footings in, and they'll probably over the cement or something to that effect.
A comment about the measuring of the size. It's one thing for them to measure the size for a building permit. It's another thing for equalization to say, oh, that's what it is, because I think equalization will be doing on the square footage of the building and not the square footage of the roof. But that is a question that I think we should have clarified at some point.
Yeah, I think
too.
we do
So
too.
that, we'll figure that one out at another point. Is there any more questions about the issue at hand? And I would look for a motion, and this will be a roll call vote, but a motion.
Madam Chair, I'll
To
make,
uphold the action of the planning commission.
right,
Is a motion? And a
to include then conditional use permit 18-36.
second, and we're gonna do a roll call vote.
Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Hiberger,
Yes,
Karski.
Aye.
motion passes unanimously. Yeah,
Madam-
you can ask a question.
How do we go about, so it's assessed at 440 square feet. Who do we talk to change that?
Equalization, I think Kevin will help you, but equalization is where you would go, but I think Kevin could help you with that, or even our
Okay.
staff, so either one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would
Commissioner
just
Barr.
comment that I don't think I've ever seen an appeal where there was no objection at the planning level and where the opponent didn't show up for the planning meeting or for the county commission meeting. But I've only been here for 12 years. I don't know if Scott has ever. Oh, okay.
Okay, interesting.
Oh.
Okay, sorry we wasted your time. Item number 12 is consider a bid award for project number MC 18-05, crack seal for 42 miles at various county highways. The bids were opened July 18th. Good morning, DJ.
Good morning, Commissioners. DJ Boothia, Highway Superintendent. We received bids on July 18th. Bids plural. This is the first time, I think, since I started working here that we received more than one bid on our crack seal project, which is a great thing. We opened bids for 42 miles of crack seal. I received 2 bids. Low bid is Highway Improvement, Inc., who we have worked with the last several years. Their bid is $274,295.50. We've reviewed the bid abstract and have confirmed that it's a good bid and requesting your approval to enter into contract with Highway Improvement.
Any questions for DJ? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
For a second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 13 is consider a motion to approve the South Dakota Department of Transportation Work Order PD-10-18 to begin the Maple Street and Park Street corridor study. DJ.
Commissioners, last week I had an agenda item where you approved an agreement with the Department of Transportation to move forward with the corridor study project on Maple Street, Park Street, near Brandon. And a follow-up to that agenda item is the DOT's work order that they issue to the engineering consultant. And the DOT requires us to concur to their contract that they have. And so asking for your concurrence today. Again, as just a reminder, that the work order is for approximately $110,000. And the county will be using planning funds, a state or a federal funding mechanism for this project. Will be responsible for approximately $19,855, and we will enter into an agreement with the City of Sioux Falls and the City of Brandon to share those costs.
Great. Is there any questions? Motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 14 is consider a resolution to limit weight loads limits, to set weight load limits on bridge structure number 50-205-060.
Commissioners, we recently completed the field work for our bridge inspections for 2018, and one structure that has been on our radar, and actually we received bids for replacement this fall, but we did not accept that bid that we received because it was too high, is a structure 50-205-060. It's about a half mile east of Baltic on County Highway 114. During the regular inspection for that, the inspection engineer noticed a significant amount of cracking that had progressed from where it was last year, about 12 months ago, and recommended a posting. The posting is approximately 75% of the legal load, and so the single unit truck would be limited to 18 tons, and the combination unit would be limited to 30 tons. If you approve this resolution today as requested, the number of bridges posted on our bridge system would go from 25 to 26, and this is being planned. We're planning on replacing this structure probably right away in the spring of 2019. So we would move forward with that bid opening probably in November or December this year.
Okay. Any questions for DJ on the limit?
How old
Commissioner
is this
Karski?
bridge, DJ?
You know, I don't have that with me, but from what I remember from looking at the old bridge reports, I think it was built in the 1960s or 1970s.
Okay.
And we have a lot of structures on our system that were built around that time frame that simply had some bad concrete, and we're thinking that this is a material defect and it can't handle some of the stresses and so, due to the bad concrete.
Because we do typically get more life than that out of a bridge, don't we? Okay.
Yes, the average bridge on our system, I think, is around 70 years old right now, 65 or 70 years old.
Average.
Average, yeah, and we will have them go up to 90-plus years before we replace a lot of them.
Okay.
Most of all of those bridges were designed for a 50-year design life, so they've exceeded that already.
Seems like Baltic is under siege with bridges over the last few years. The one going to the west, the one coming from the east now. I hope they can make it work.
I'd look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. We need a roll call vote.
Yes. Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Benega.
Aye.
Hiberger.
Aye.
Karski.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Commissioner, if I could make one more comment too. Commissioner's Barth comment made me think of a conversation I had earlier this week with Mayor Mike Wendland. We notified them already of what was going to be happening with this structure, and so he requested that we look at a gravel road that runs along the east side of their municipal boundary. It's an old township road, and requested that we look at dust control. And so we're planning on putting in 2 miles of dust control. It's not an official detour route, but we know with harvest coming that there's going to be a lot of trucks that use that road. So the county will be paying for dust control on 2 miles of gravel road to try to help ease some of the pains.
I really appreciate your thoughtfulness on that.
Yep. Thank you, DJ. Okay. I'm actually going to bring back item number 10. We have new information on agenda item number 10, which was consider a resolution to restore the tax ID. We need a motion to rescind the action that was taken on number 10 to present.
Reconsider that action.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, sorry. Motion to reconsider the action taken on item number 10 to present additional information voiced. So I would look for a motion first to reconsider item number 10.
That's my motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Now, Auditor,
Good morning, Commission. Bob Litz from the Auditor's Office. This item has been, was put on here at the behest of Ms. Werkamp and the owner of the property, the current listed owner of the property. He promised to pay. However, that money has not been forthcoming. I was just in the treasurer's office a few minutes ago. And my apologies, I was down working. I put out a PSA for election workers. It's been remarkably successful so far. But I meant to pull this off the agenda before it got to this point. So I'm asking for you to rescind this action.
so what I would need would be a motion, if you're so inclined, to rescind the approval of the resolution, and we can either defer action a few weeks, or we can merely deny it altogether. So we can defer the action, Commissioner.
I have a
Excuse me.
comment on that. This has been a contentious thing for the tax deed process here for over a year. We went forward with an eviction process, the start of the eviction process, and we suspended it upon payment. There's been some belligerence up there about they're not leaving, that type of thing. So we're gonna, after this here, we're gonna commence with the eviction process. So I don't anticipate this coming back unless there's a sudden change of heart by the owner.
Okay, so I would still tell you either a motion to rescind or defer. Questions for Mr. Barth? I mean, excuse me, Auditor Litz?
At this memo, I just want to confirm. The memo says that we have received payment, but we never actually received any
I
payment.
put that on the agenda last week after he promised to come in here, but I was gonna wait and pull it this morning if he did not pay.
Okay.
And I just came from the treasurer's office. I did one more check before I came up here, and he's not paid.
Sounds like we gave him up to the last minute to do it, so.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Barth?
Bob, so is this Alex Mills the resident or on the property, or is that a family member of the resident, or?
Apparently, the family, the mom and dad owned the property up until a point of last year, and then they transferred ownership of the property to him once we gave them notice that this was going to come due. And so I don't know why they changed ownership. He was contacted by Ms. Werkamp from the state's attorney's office. He promised to come down and pay, however, it's not been forthcoming.
I'd be in favor of deferring only 1 week, or maybe 2.
So we need a motion to,
You need to have a motion to rescind the approval of the resolution and either defer action or deny the request.
I mean, I'm not really in favor of deferring it. I don't see any point in deferring it when it's been going on this long. I mean, it's unfortunate the way this is all kind of played out. So the motion is if I don't want to defer it, the motion is to rescind it.
The motion is to rescind and then
I
either
thought we
defer-
already made a motion to rescind.
I think we did.
Reconsider.
We did a motion to reconsider. And, excuse me, are you gentlemen that are sitting in the front row, Are you here about this tax deed property? Are you here about the tax deed property?
Are you Mr. Mills?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Very good.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. So I'm sorry, I just saw that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's
So
good to
we
clarify.
had one the first motion was to reconsider, and this one would be a motion to rescind the approval of the resolution with either a deferred action or to merely just deny the request.
Okay, I would make a motion to rescind and deny the request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and we'll need a roll call vote.
Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Hiberger,
No.
Karski.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Then we are on item number 15. Consider a resolution to amend the resolution MC 18, right? Yeah. 18-51 for DP&O number 8165 to correct the total lien balance from $1,391.05 to $2,967.58. Melinda, good morning.
Good morning, Melinda Storley, Commission Assistant. A little bit of background on this. A request came to the, a request to compromise lien DPN 08165 was presented to the Commission on August 7th, 2018. The petitioner had requested a release of the lien in full with no payment because both family members listed on the lien, his aunt and his father, are deceased, and there is no property attached to the lien because it had been sold to provide funds for nursing home care for the petitioner's mother. The board approved Resolution MC 1852, authorizing a compromise of the lien in full. The lien balance amount listed on the petition was $1,391.05, and the lien summary sheet that was provided supported the fee balance in the application. However, in the process of recording the satisfaction of county aid lien, the Register of Deeds office noted that the balance amount was incorrect and should have been $2,967.58. The additional fees leading to the larger balance represent court-appointed attorney fees for the primary lienee while she resided in the South Dakota Human Services Center, Yankton. The action requested today is to consider a resolution to amend Resolution MC 1852 for DPNO 8165 to correct the lien compromise amount from $1,391.05 to $2,967.58.
Questions for Melinda? Is there a motion? Commissioner?
I would make a motion to rescind MC 1852 for $1,391.05 and approve a resolution dismissing the full $2,967.58.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. We'll need a roll call vote.
Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Hiberger,
Aye.
Karski.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Item number 16 is to authorize the chairman to sign amendment number 1 to the Tegra Owners Representative Agreement for the Jail Expansion Project. Carol.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carol Muller, Commission Office. Before you today is a request to authorize the chairperson to sign the amendment with Tegra. In April 2017, Minnehaha County named Tegra to serve as the owner's representative on the jail expansion project. The contract included a flat fee for Step 1, which were services provided to the finalization of the GMP, which has just occurred, and then a balance for Step 2 based upon the total cost of the project. The GMP that you approved last week was $40 million, a little over $40 million, and the total project is at $48,300,000. Before you today is the Tegra amendment, which inserts the dollar value of Step 2 now that the GMP has been determined. The fee for Step 2 will be $396,000. The county will pay Tegra $18,000 a month for 22 months beginning in September 2018. We've already paid Tegra $325,000 for Step 1, and in total, we'll pay Tegra $721,000 for the jail expansion project services. Now, the original contract that you signed almost a year and a half ago stated that the Tegra fee would not exceed 1.5% of the project's total cost, and this amendment will bring it in at $3,500 under the minimum of that the maximum of that 1.5%. So I am open to any questions you may have about the contract.
Sorry. Are there any questions for Carol? Look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, and I'll have a comment if we get a second.
Second.
A motion, a second. Commissioner Bender.
I'd just like to say that, you know, when you look at this, this seems expensive, and it is expensive. But Tegra has multiple personnel working on this, and honestly, those of us, I think, that have been involved on a day-to-day basis recognize that we didn't have the wherewithal internally or the expertise to pull this off, and they have been pretty much invaluable to getting us to where we are, and for the next 22 months, we'll more than earn this amount of money. So I just wanted to thank them publicly for all the work they've done.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to sign the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 17 is consider a resolution to authorize the approval of the change order on the Minnehaha County Jail expansion for the amounts under $100,000 on an individual item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Now that we are actually going to start seeing construction start on the jail, on the components that we're putting in place for that, we need to talk about how we're going to deal with change orders. And those are those change orders that come up on a rather short notice that we need to deal with, particularly on the owner's side of things, which the county is, and getting out of the ground. So before you today is a resolution that would authorize a process for change orders under $100,000. Any change orders for over $100,000 would come back to the commission before you. And the resolution details out the procedures, but I think, Chairman, with your permission, if I can just summarize
Yep.
what that turns around and says. Yes, the authority to deny or approve will rest with the administrative officer, which is myself, or if I'm not available, in the assistant administrative officer for signature. And the scope in that, we will have to document everything, talk about why that is needed to occur. And we also need to have sign-offs before I sign off, which includes Tegra as owner's rep, our facilities director, and also a commissioner. So we've put some good controls in place in order to make sure that we do things appropriately and represent the taxpayers well. You will also have those reported to you on a monthly basis as we start doing monthly reports to you, which will be filed with the commission.
Any questions for Carol on that? Commissioner Barth?
I'd just point out that on the jail archive facility, which is 10 times smaller than on the museum archive facility, 10 times smaller than the jail, that the adjustments that we needed to make for change orders, we had a savings of, $180, and we had to meet jointly with the city council. It really was difficult to survive that, and anything we can do to make the project move forward quickly, I think, is to our benefit.
Sorry, thank you, we're dealing with other things. Thank you, Commissioner Barth. I would need a motion and a second on this, and then we would do a roll call vote.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second, roll call vote.
Barth,
Aye.
Bender,
Aye.
Benega,
Aye.
Hiberger,
Aye.
Karski.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Item number 18 is Minnehaha County Liaison Reports. Anybody have any reports? Commissioner Karski.
Last Wednesday, I believe it was, Project Safe Home Board met, and I'm happy to report, after I believe we're in our 7th year with the Safe Home, that we are on budget and in fact exceeding the expectations financially of what Safe Home would do for our community, and on mission. And it's a success story in our community. So just report that we had our quarterly meeting there, and next Tuesday, Commissioner Bender and I will meet at 7:30 with the Public Defenders Advisory Board. Also, one of our 4 meetings a year roughly that we have there. So that'll be next week.
Thank you. Any other liaison reports? Commissioner Bender.
I'd just like to mention that we were all scattered last week and at various places, but one of the meetings that went on was the Southeast Regional meeting, and Commissioner Barth and I were able to go, and I was able to visit a little bit with some Lincoln County commissioners, and just to share, misery likes company, I think, that Lincoln County has, if anything, experiencing more dramatic issues with their dealing with the criminal justice side of their budget. They've got over 100 prisoners right now that they have scattered multiple hundred miles away, and they're having to deal with trying to transport those folks around, and so it's a real issue for not only Minnehaha County but all the counties in South Dakota, and it's something that we just need to continue to fight the good fight to try to try every strategy we can to bring those issues under control.
Thank you for that. I have a couple of things. I had a couple of meetings this week. As Commissioner Bender said, we were all scattered. We had the SDACC Executive Board meeting was in Pierre this last week. And so I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of what we talked about. Our board here submitted resolutions to the SDACC, and that was basically what we discussed was those resolutions. At first, we had Mr. David Owens, who came and discussed Amendment W, which will be on the ballot this fall, and he's working on a campaign to oppose it. Amendment W is also a constitutional amendment. It's a Massachusetts bill. It's totally funded by the state of Massachusetts, or I should say individuals from that area. It would create a fourth branch of government, which makes it superior to all other branches of the government, and it also has power over our Bill of Rights in the state of South Dakota. It mandates an annual appropriations that cannot be vetoed by the governor, and can be increased without a veto on a yearly basis. It already has a built-in increase. But I thought, Craig's just walking out, but I wondered if maybe we would ask Mr. Owens if he would be willing to come and speak to us at our meeting about it. Carol's here. I think that it would be very informative. He probably talked for 5 to 10 minutes and gave you a whole lot more than what I just told you. So I think that would be a good thing to have on our agenda to talk. It also gives a platform for him to try to educate voters in Minnehaha County as to that. Then we dealt with the resolutions, and so I'm just going to kind of give you a rundown of what we did. All the resolutions that we passed here that dealt with elections and publications have been moved to the county officials' membership for them to discuss, which made more sense. Do you remember which resolutions we had? We had one about publications of the minutes. We had one about using electronic devices, whether we could just put the minutes on electronic devices. There was also one from another county that dealt with ebooks, and so all those have been moved to the county officials. The resolution that we had to eliminate double taxation on public buildings, which was the sales tax that we're supposed to pay on the jail, we deferred that to the WICA convention. It will be discussed by the executive board again at that time so that they could do some more research in it. And I'll touch again on that later in my report. The Ashmore resolution, the funding for transportation, as in when we were transporting people, or the city is transporting people to like Lifescape and other programming, that resolution, the drug and alcohol resolution, the housing opportunities resolution, those were all moved to policy statements, which I think kind of was what our goal was. So if those are brought up as legislation by the municipal league or someone else, our association will support them in those efforts. The 25-cent wheel tax for construction was defeated, but it was stated in our meeting that we can already use a portion of the wheel tax for construction, just not 25%. And so I have told staff about that, and they're going to look further into that. But that was the consensus of the room, that we are already able to use that money for construction. So that's to later find out. The TIF resolution, which basically said we're in support of the current form of the resolution, was tabled because they felt like we're already doing that, and we had that had been addressed in the legislature last year. The resolution on county municipalities cooperation, they did not put it in the policy statement because they felt that we already do that. That goes without saying. Why would we have a resolution, or why would we have that in our policy? So that was tabled. The resolutions that were passed was Cottington County. Their Commissioner Lee Gables came down and presented on authorization of the county's sales tax to be used to fund the construction and renovation of county courthouses and jails and regional jails. And that did pass, and it would be a bill that would allow counties to implement a sales tax after a vote of their county to pay for courthouse and jail reclamation or renovation or the building of a jail. It would also be proactive, or I don't know if that's what I want to say, but that we could actually, if it actually passed, that Minnehaha County could try to we could try to pass a sales tax law to pay for our current jail to pay off the bond. So, then there was a resolution, the other one that passed was a resolution to support an allocation of funds to the Bridge Improvement Grant Program. It already has a prime sponsor that's been identified. And then I just got a text message last night that said that ranked South Dakota as the fourth highest in the number of deficiency of bridges. And it was kind of an interesting resolution. It was brought by Brown County, and I can give you more details on that later. The letters that we get, the little booklet, the county news layer, you get those monthly. Those are going to go to quarterly, and then the competency claims that we are doing, that the changes that were made in the mental health programming last year. We were submitting those twice a year, and they've said now that the office can submit them when we have them available and collect payment for them quicker than waiting just for twice a year. So that turnaround will be quicker. Then Craig and I from staff visited with the South Dakota Bureau of Finance and Management, and we talked about the county financial struggles. We talked about the alcohol redistribution, and we also asked him about the sales tax of government projects, specifically our jail and stuff. And he actually had to do some more research on that too, and so he's actually going to get back to us today, and so we can maybe report on that later in a memo as to what we found out from the state on the sales tax issue. Yesterday, I met with the mayor and the superintendent of schools here in Sioux Falls, and we just discussed how we could work together to moving forward on a united voice or whatever in representing our taxpayers. We also talked about affordable housing and how it affects all of us. We talked about the school building project, the city reclamation, the public safety training center, which is kind of on their radar going forward, also our parking issues and our jail project. Just to keep you up to speed. All right, with that, we will go on to new business. Is there any new business? Item number 20 is old business, and we do have some old business. Mr. Zimmer, we already have addressed, but if you would like to come up and speak about that, we would be glad to hear you. You'll have to identify yourself and give your address.
Well, I'm here for my mother.
Okay.
This, I guess, is right up against her land. My understanding is the gentleman wants to put up a monster building, but 113 feet from her land. And he petitioned, and I think the law reads 500 feet. Is that my understanding? You can come within 500 feet?
Scott, Kevin, could you just tell him the
He
size of the...
wants to put that awfully close to that land. And I oppose it.
Okay.
Totally. That's too
we would
close.
have planning and
If you-
zoning.
My understanding from the first letter we received, it was to butt up against her 113 feet away from that land.
Okay.
And in the future, somebody has 5 children, and I imagine they'll acquire 30 acres apiece, and that could be, be looking at something that is awfully close to that land. That I just, oppose it. I'd rather he stayed 500 feet like he's supposed to. But he's got the right to petition it, and I'm here just to say I like the 500 feet. But I imagine there's a decision already been made.
The decision has been made, and
What was that?
we upheld the planning commission's decision. But I would have Kevin speak about the size of the building and the distance, if you would give him an opportunity. Did you get an address?
Yeah.
I need your address too, Mr. Zimmer. Mr.
Excuse me?
Zimmerman, I need your address for the record. Your address.
5007 South Glenview Road.
Thank you. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say
Nope, that
before I
was
have
it.
Kevin respond to some of those
That
questions?
must have been the first thing.
Pardon me?
That must have been the
No,
first
it
thing.
actually was item number 11. It was item number 11 on our agenda.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Kevin, could you address some of those questions or concerned?
Yes.
Maybe the size of the building that he's actually going to build now?
Sure. Kevin Hookman, County Planning Department. The size of the building that's being was approved was 52 feet by 80 feet. The required setback along this road would be 50 feet from the property line. The petitioner has drawn in a site plan that it would be 113 feet from the property line, the front yard.
Okay.
So.
And then it's
that is
50
what
feet
it's
from the center of the road, so. Are there any questions for Kevin?
Madam Chair, I just would comment that I believe we allow CAFOs to be 50 feet from the lot line, and certainly zoned ag, they probably could work on something like that there.
I do need to ask you if anyone is interested in reconsidering. Okay. That was the end of old business. Thank you, Kevin. I would look for a motion to recess the county commission meeting for 10 minutes, so we will reconvene at 10 o'clock for a executive session.
So moved.
Motion to recess?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.